Good morning, Vietnam!
Greetings, friends.
Yeah.
And mostly enemies.
Yes, I'm so glad you picked that ball up then. There was like the few seconds of silence where I was like, it's fucking threw the ball and he's not going to grab it.
I not grab the ball on that one. It's my greeting.
Well, I know, but we double teamed it there. That's why it was great. And it's funny because I'm like the super positive one as well, so it works for me saying the friends.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. We straight up Eiffel Towered that greeting.
Slam dunk.
Killtastic.
Fatality.
It's not kill if it's not overkill.
That's right. And if it ain't fire, it ain't dead.
Dead.
So, what are we doing today then, Zack?
Well, Second Lieutenant Adventurer, we are reacting to something you put out just now.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
This motherfucker acts like he didn't hit us up on Facebook, like, "Hey, you guys want to do a reaction stream for this thing I put out? It's really good."
Yeah, I never said it was really good. It was mostly just because I thought, well, then I don't have to like be all obnoxious and be like, "Hey, you know, a good chunk of our Wednesday stream. Why don't we take that up with my content?"
That's fair.
Even though you could have, though.
Well, I could have.
I totally would have been cool with that.
I know, but to tell you the truth, I'm using you. I have no idea how to finish off this short story that I'm working on, and rather than sitting there frustrated trying to stare at the keyboard, even though that's useless, I just thought I'll just take my mind off it by doing a reaction stream instead. Because I've been literally thinking about this fucking story all day, and the ending is just eluding me.
Healthy distraction, man. It cannot be overstated how beneficial healthy distraction can be. And I mean, this is the perfect blend of I'm kind of sort of being productive and I'm kind of sort of fucking off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a healthy work-life balance.
Facts. Alrighty. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get to this bitch. This is The Faceless Man, Justice Archives, Episode 1. So, and for anyone who might see this that doesn't know what the shtick here is, Mason in the Dark, this is channel right there. Just going to throw this an obligatory like. Mason puts out fucking these great fucking things where he puts on character roles and does skits and fake ads and all kinds of shit. Just a bunch of great audio-based content, and he has this character called Dylan Justice. And I can only assume that this is a video dedicated to him based upon the name. You know, it's Justice Archives, so we're gonna dive head first. What do you want, dog?
I want to watch the mockumentary too.
He's always pushing my door open. If I don't get that fucking door latch, he comes and nuzzles it open. It's like, God damn it, dog.
What are you
doing, Zack? What are you doing?
Because I love you.
I'm lonely, man.
No one else pays attention to me like you do. All right.
Why don't you start by introducing yourself? Yeah, all right. My name is Dylan Justice. I'm a private investigator, formerly Detective Chief Inspector at the Knoxfordshire County Constabulary. This is the case of the Faceless Man.
The constabulary?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is that seriously how you say constables?
Well,
Yeah,
constables belong to a constabulary.
Yeah, constabulary, like a. You know.
Oh, so that's like the word for police force over there.
Yes.
What one of them? Yeah.
Oh, he's like, that's the polite one.
Not what I meant at all. But yeah, to tell you the truth, it just sounded better than police force. So.
Right.
The Justice Archives, Episode 1, The Case of the Faceless Man, a Mason in the Dark production.
In partnership with
On the
Dr.
20th of April,
which I also completely run all by myself.
yeah, I made myself laugh in that, I'm not going to lie. Dylan Justice solved a case that had been mystifying the Oxfordshire County Constabulary for 3 years. On July 22nd, I sat down with Dylan to hear his story. Why did you quit the police force, Dylan? Straight in with the hard questions. I like that. Journalistic integrity. I've always had respect for that. Look, when I first joined the force, it was a completely different world. Back then, solving cases was the main objective, and you could pretty much do it however you needed to. By the time I quit, there was all this red tape, all these rules and regulations you needed to follow. I'm a bit of a maverick. Oh no. Being told what to do, so I just step away, and that's what.
I love how he constantly refers to himself as a maverick.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we get it. You're edgy.
We get it. You like punching criminals in the face, and you're not allowed to do that anymore. I liked it back in the day when I could slam their faces off the bonnet and throw them in the back seat.
I liked it back in the day where if I saw someone taking a dump on the hood of a car, I could just open fire.
I was not an armed officer. You need a special permit for that, and well, my aim is shit.
For reasons I'm not going to go into at this time.
Recently, you've been making a lot of headlines with the case of the Faceless Man. Were you expecting this to be such a high-profile case? No, I wasn't, not at all. I thought this was a relatively small-time deal, but then, to my surprise, it went viral. It really caught the public's attention for some reason. Why do you think that is? Of all the things happening in the world, why is it that such an obscure crime has been given so much attention? Honestly, I've asked myself that question a lot, and I'm still not sure of the answer. I think it's just the intrigue of it, you know? A faceless man committing an armed robbery. How did he get away with it? Why did he choose a coffee shop? And why did he have no face? Nobody knew the truth, not even the cops. And above all else, truth is the thing I value most in this world. So that's why I had to get involved. The case itself dates back 3 years. At 8 p.m. on the 20th of April 2019, Simon Gockman, an employee...
Mason,
Yes?
how do you get that fucking audio on point to this degree when you do all your fucking editing on a phone?
I just try to make it sound as much as like what I'm trying to go for as possible. Like, yeah, okay.
I know, but it's so good. Like the timing, the fucking music, so the fucking sound selection. It's always like,
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean, I can't take credit for the timing. A lot of that is Lee, but the selection is just me obsessively going through playlists like, not that one, not that one, not that one. No, that one's too intense. No, that sounds a bit too horror-y. There's a bit too much piano in that one. What about this one?
Well,
3 hours later. No, not that one. Not that one. 2 hours later. Yeah, okay, that one might work.
Between the two of you, your fucking audio, your capabilities as a fucking as a sound guy, put together, we got one amazing sound guy.
Employee at the Fine Beans coffee shop would shut the doors for the night. 16 minutes later, Gockman would place an emergency call with the Oxfordshire County Constabulary.
His name is Gockman.
Police emergency. Hello. Yes. Can you help me? I've been robbed. All right, sir. It's all right. Stay calm and tell me what happened. I was at work, you see, and I was shutting up shop for the day, and I stepped outside for a cigarette, and when I came back in, there was a man with no face.
And
I'm fascinated by the coverage.
I like how, I don't know if this was on purpose, but actual is misspelled.
I don't know.
It says acute recording.
I missed that. Caitlin. God damn it. You're right. It is. It's ACUTAL.
Attention to
Oh,
detail.
That's what our Caitlin is good for. Attention to detail and remembering shit.
I came back in, there was a man with no face.
Like many, I've been fascinated by the coverage that this case has received, but I've been equally fascinated by Justice himself, who's become somewhat of a folk hero over the last few weeks.
To
Before
himself?
can you run us through how you got involved in the case? Yeah, absolutely. In March of this year, I received a call from a mate of mine named Charlie Fine, who owns the Fine Beans coffee shop.
Mhm.
Justice speaking, how can I help? Thank God you've packed up. It's me, mate. Charlie, long time no speak. How's it going, bruv? You alright? No, to be honest, Dylan, I'm not. It's about the robberies at the shop. The police, they don't care. I need your help.
Now, me and Charlie, we go way back. We met in school, and as we grew up, we stayed in touch. These days, our families are close, we do everything together. We've had Christmas dinner, backyard barbecues, gone on holiday. His daughter Charlotte, she used to look after my little boy before she went to university. I was aware of what Charlie had been going through, but it was a matter for the police to deal with, and as a senior detective in the CRD, it wasn't in my jurisdiction. After I left the police force in October 2021, I made it clear to Charlie that I was happy to help in any way I could. So when I received my PI license and he gave me a call, I couldn't say no. When Charlie outlined the case, what did you think of Gockman's story? I didn't believe him. Nobody did. His story literally sounds insane, and we all thought he was lying out of his arse. For the people who might be unfamiliar, can you run us through the story? Okay, this is how it all went down. On April the 20th, 2019, Simon Gockman was at work.
You know what I find interesting about this, Mason? You have it titled as a mockumentary, but the tone is actually still somewhat serious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that was kind of my goal with it. It was like to throw in a few jokes here and there, but I also was doing it in mind of like if I wanted to shift into like a more serious case at some point,
Mm-hmm.
I could do it and it not be like, because if I made this like overtly silly and like every second was a joke, like it is with like a talk tube thing,
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't be able to do like a cool case at some point. But like say I've already got episode 2 sort of planned out, and I think that one's going to be a bit more of a serious like, this is the case, these are like the clues and the suspects and that sort of thing. So I wanted to like keep it silly and have a few jokes thrown in there, but still also like outline a case that kind of made sense at least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Dylan Justice at every incarnation I've seen him before on your channel has been a very comedic character. And every time you've assumed the character on a live, it's been for great comedic effect. So I came into this expecting comedy, but I'm actually getting like something that I could actually see being an actual fucking documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's. I didn't want to craft another police character, and I thought, well, Dylan is inherently stupid, but if I just sort of shift him just a little bit, I could also.
But I also like the fact that because this has the serious tone that it does, it makes the comedy hit harder.
Yeah,
It's more unexpected.
And the thing about it, and if you talk about like the world that Mason has built on his channel, this is like a documentary that's being made by someone else, and Dylan is just the subject of it.
Right.
So his stupidity wouldn't have the chance to shine through because they'd edit it.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, because like you've got me as the interviewer, like sort of keeping him on track.
Mhm.
Right.
At 8 p.m. he shuts the shop. 8:05 he steps outside for a smoke, and we know this for a fact because it was caught on CCTV. But this is where it gets weird. At 8:06 the cameras are disabled. No more picture. 10 minutes later, Gockman would place a call to 999 in which he stated that when he got back inside from his smoke, there was a man waiting for him with a gun who demanded he open the till and give him all the money. Later that night, in his statement, Gockman would claim that the man was relatively short, dressed all in black, and had no face. Now, what the police initially assumed, and rightfully so in my opinion, is that Gockman, along with a possible accomplice, shut down the cameras, helped themselves to the money out of the till, hid it, and then placed the emergency call. Did they not think that 10 minutes was a pretty tight window to achieve all that in? Yeah, they did. And one of the problems was when they checked the ANPR, there were no cars caught going to or from the retail park in which Farm Beans is located in that time window. Over the next few months, all the lines of inquiry were focused on Gockman, but there was no evidence whatsoever, and his brother is a lawyer. So eventually the case was dropped, no charges were pressed, and everybody lost interest until April 20th, 2020. 1 year after the initial robbery, the police would receive a call from David Stunton, who would report that once again, Fine Beans had been robbed by a faceless menace. It was almost the exact same story. It's closing time, Stanton steps outside to take a phone call from his boyfriend. When he gets back in, there's a faceless man, yada yada, etc, etc. And what did you think of that?
Yeah. What, the yada yada, etc., etc.?
Yeah. Sometimes it makes me laugh when I listen back to something just because I remember laughing during the recording, and it took me like at least like 2 or 3 takes to do that because I kept being like yada yada, etc, and just like stumbling a little bit. So then when I hear like the actual take, it just makes me laugh. Well, the way I saw it, there was 3 options. First, Stanton was committing a copycat crime. Second, Stanton was Gockman's original accomplice, and they decided to repeat the crime since they got away with it so successfully the first time. The third option was that it was true, and there was a faceless man that was robbing this coffee shop. Once again, the finger of accusation was pointed towards an employee who could easily have been a criminal, but could just as easily have been an innocent victim. Just like Gockman before him, Stanton would lose his job, and even though after months of investigation the police could press no charges, the damage to Stanton's reputation was already done. Stanton didn't have a good time of it. Nobody believed him. Charlie, the police, even me. We thought he was lying. We thought both of them were lying. Come on, a faceless man? What is this, Scooby-Doo? In the end, Stanton and he ended up in a pub brawl. He's now behind bars. What about Gockman? Last I heard, Gockman had left the country altogether. I think he's now living in Las Vegas. What happened on the 20th of April 2021? At that point, Charlie was kind of losing his mind. He was stressed out about it all and he was afraid it was going to happen again. So in the end, he decided that he was going to close the shop himself. If you watch the CCTV from that night, you can see Charlie counting out the takings for the day when he glances up towards the window at the front of the property. After that, he freezes for a moment and then he just takes off running out the front door. Later, he claimed that he saw the faceless man standing outside of the shop. He gave chase, they ran, went down an alley, and he lost them. Can I just say, while it's between sentences, can I just say how fucking hard it is to keep up that character for like this long and like to do, because obviously so far when I've done Dylan, it's been fairly short bursts. doing
Right.
this much of his voice is so hard. It's like, I don't know, like saying like it glances up. Like I just say glances, so I like got to like switch my brain to doing the "oh" sound instead. And there's so many things like that where it's like, no, that is not how he'd say it in his accent, and I have to go back and do the take again.
Oh my god!
I wish there is a part of me, even though I'm happy not appearing on camera, there is a part of me that wishes people could see me when I'm doing it, because I know just from when I've done like Mason Dark around Lee and stuff, I know that I have like body language and facial expressions for the characters when I'm sitting there and doing it. Like, Mason Dark has this sort of like, I'm sniffing my own farts and I really like it sort of things. I was doing it the other day and Lee was like, can you do that voice without the eyebrows? And I was like, and I'm sitting there like trying to do the voice without moving my eyebrows, and I just couldn't do it because it's just like it's part of the character. And like when I was doing Dylan, it's like I got to sort of move my mouth off to the side a little bit, because you've got to like move it into a sort of position that works for his accent, And I'm like, and there's a little tilt of the head when I'm making certain points for emphasis, even though no one can see me.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call method acting.
Yes. Oh man.
Except I don't have a choice about it. It's not that I'm just a really good actor and I'm like, no, if I'm gonna get in character, I need to embody them, because that's just the kind of actor I am. And I know I just can't do it if I don't do that.
Right, yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, does that make it any worse? I don't think so.
No. But I wish we could see it though.
Me too.
You know what would be hilarious is if we could get a piece of software that would like motion capture Mason and then make like an animated avatar of him.
Well, no, if I was loaded, I would totally 100% do that.
Oh my god, that would be awesome.
Just me sitting in my bedroom on my office chair covered in mocap balls.
Oh
because
my god,
that's totally normal.
Yeah. Of course it is.
Well, I love the fact that in that scenario, I'm loaded enough to have mocap software, still live in my flat, still record in my bedroom, don't have an actual recording studio. Listen, my dreams only go so far.
It's like, listen, I'm a simple man. I live in my flat, I pet my cat, I cover myself in mocap balls.
Poetry.
Oh my god.
In an alley and he lost them. Would it be fair to say that at that point the police weren't taking Charlie seriously anymore? Yeah, I definitely think it would. I honestly just don't think they were buying it. I think they figured it was one big inside job. Charlie had been in on it to start with, and it was just one big PR stunt. Let's face it, as much as I don't like it, policing is a difficult job. Resources are always in demand. I think it's just a matter of priority. This seemed like a fairly small-time deal, and there was bigger fish to fry. Over the next 11 months, Charlie...
Ah, yes. Like all those people posting memes on the internet that we don't like. Big stuff that.
And homeless people to move on.
Yep, got it, man. Man, that shop owner being victimized and having his business destroyed, that's small fish. But man, that homeless guy and that asshole that posted that meme we didn't like, those guys, they're mafia bosses.
Yeah, the real criminals.
And what about that jaywalker over there? That guy is basically a traitor to the queen.
And that guy that spit his gum on the ground.
Yeah.
Is
No,
that
in all
illegal?
fairness, they do deserve the death penalty.
Oh my God, Mason.
You're making the place dirty. He would do everything to get law enforcement to take his case seriously. He'd launch appeals, social media campaigns, post YouTube videos, and even create the now infamous wanted poster of the Faceless Man. However, with far more serious crimes being prioritised by the Knoxville County Constabulary, Charlie's pleas were being ignored, and the stress of the situation began to overwhelm him. By Christmas 2021, Charlie and his wife had separated. In a YouTube video posted on the 23rd of January 2022, Charlie stated that he was beginning to feel hopeless. Here's the thing about Charlie. He never asks for anything. In all the time I've known him, he's never asked me for a favour. So when he reached out, I knew he really needed me. And I was worried, I didn't want to let him down, but there was no way I could say no. Could you walk us through your investigation once you'd taken the case? The way I saw it, there was only one logical place to start, the beginning. I went through police reports, witness statements, CCTV, I interviewed Charlie, Gockman, Stanton, and in the end, I found the same thing the police did. Absolutely nothing. More than anything, I wanted to know how and why the perp had no face. I became obsessed with it. It was all I could think about. Specifically, I wanted to know if there was any genetical reason. So I googled, can you be born without a face? Basically, the long and short of it, absolutely 100% true story. I'm like sitting there thinking, right, I don't want to make this video and be taking the piss out of like a legit thing. So I actually googled, can you be born without a face?
Be born without a face.
Oh my God, Mason.
And
you can.
what did you find?
There is a rare genetic disorder called Treacher-Collins syndrome, which leads to underdevelopment in the zygomatic region, and so it does cause like disfigurement with like the face and stuff. So I think there was a girl in Brazil that was born without a face. And there is a take of this where I had Dylan briefly talk about Treacher-Collins syndrome, but it didn't feel right. Like on one hand, I sort of felt like it lent a bit of like legitimacy to it, like, oh, he's actually mentioning like a real thing. But on the other hand, it sort of felt like I was taking the piss out of it. So I was like, right, I'll just have him like sort of brush over that.
Okay. That's very interesting.
It was possible that the perp had some rare genetic disorder. I didn't think that was likely, though. In the end, I ruled out the medical angle and realised there was a much simpler explanation. I was on my way to a supermarket when I realised I'd forgotten something, and that was the moment it hit me. 3 years of heartache for Charlie, and a little piece of cloth is what gave me the clue I needed. It was a face mask. All this time, the faceless man was actually a person in a faceless mask. That night, I was looking at online
What I want to know is, it like 3 years and no one thought that was the most likely explanation.
Exactly, that's why it's funny. Because I'm crafting this like South Park-esque world where people are like, the guy has no face, or even just like, the police just aren't taking him seriously, and they're like, yeah, whatever, he has no face. Yeah, I believe you.
Right.
And it takes someone like Dylan to come along and be like, what if it was a mask? My favorite bit of that is the whole he'd even create the now infamous wanted poster of the faceless man, and I really wish that I could have like created it, because in my head I just have this, have you seen this man? And it's just a fucking picture with just no face on it at all.
It's just like a picture of a dude that it's like a mannequin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
retailers to see if anybody sold a faceless mask. Amazon, no. eBay, no. Facebook Marketplace, no. I was starting to get so frustrated with it. I just knew that the answer was right there in front of me and I couldn't find it. And then I came across Horror Girl 67. One of the results was an obscure Etsy shop owned by Horror Girl 67. And there it was, right in front of me, a selection of faceless masks. I asked Horror Girl if she could send me a copy of her sale records, and she did. When I looked through that list, I couldn't believe it. I saw a name that I recognised. Charlie Fine. That must have been a massive shock. What was your first thought when you saw that name? Well, I thought he was a bastard. I thought he'd made mugs out of the police and now he was doing the same to me. One of his oldest friends. But the more I thought about it, the less sense it made. Why do it? If it was a PR stunt, why continue to the point where it ruins your life and breaks up your marriage? In the end, I texted him, telling him we needed to talk, and I will never forget his reply, because it hit me like a freight train. The text said, "We're in the backyard having a barbecue. Come round, give me an update on the case, and we can have a beer. Charlie is home for the weekend. I'm sure she'd want to have a catch-up."
I like how he says, I like that thing you just did there, Mason, where it was, I'll never forget it. And it was just like the most completely reasonable, normal text ever.
Well, it reveals the whole case, though.
Yeah.
It turned out, since she'd moved to university,
Wait,
Charlotte
it reveals the whole case, does
barbecue.
it?
Come round. Never forget his reply, because it hit me like a freight train. The text said, "We're in the backyard having a barbecue. Come round, give me an update on the case, and we can have a beer. Charlie is home for the weekend. I'm sure she'd love to have a catch-up." It turned out, since she'd moved to university, Charlotte Fine's friends had known her as Charlie. So what did you do? That can't have been easy. Having that piece of information put you in a bit of a difficult position, to say the least. Did you tell Charlie straight away what you'd found? No, I didn't. Of course I didn't. How could I? 3 years this had been going on, and it had ruined Charlie. His reputation, his marriage, his life was like a Jenga tower that he just about managed to keep standing.
Wait a minute.
I was going to roll a grenade.
Wait a minute, what?
You keep switching between calling Charlie a he and a she.
That's because the guy's name, the owner of the bakery, his name is Charlie, and his daughter's name is Charlotte, but her friends call her Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
So he's talking about two separate people that both have the name Charlie.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In there and blow it up. I mean, what was I supposed to do? March into his backyard and go, "Hey, Charlie, I've solved the case. It was your daughter. See ya." I can see in your face that you're getting emotional. It must have been pretty difficult trying to decide what to do. Yeah, it was. It really was. I did not want to be the one to blow Charlie's life apart, but I was the only one taking him seriously and he needed me. It was the 17th of April, so I had 3 days to make sure I was 100% certain before I told him the truth. I decided the smartest thing to do would be to trail Charlotte and see what she was up to. I got a big surprise when I did, though. On Monday morning, when she was supposed to drive back to university, she didn't. Instead, she drove 20 miles north to a town called Chipston, where she was living in an house with a man called Billy Jackson. William Billy Jackson, or BJ to his mates, of which he does not have many, is a highly unsavoury character with a criminal record as long as you like, and his very favourite crime is armed robbery. Now guess what day Billy's birthday is? The 20th of April? The 20th of April. So Charlotte was lying to her family about being in university, and instead she was living with some sort of career criminal? No, I'm sorry. Career criminal is far too generous for Willie Jackson. Joke. He's a 2-bit thug who thinks he's the dog's bollocks and he can get away with anything.
Wait, who thinks he's the dog's bollocks?
Yeah, over here, the dog's bollocks is like the best.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, I don't know. Presumably because dog's bollocks are large, and large equals good. I don't know. It's just how it is.
I would love to know. Caitlin, can you do some research and see if you can find the origin of that bit of slang? Because I have to know at this point.
Yeah.
I have to know where the fuck that comes from.
I mean,
Like
it's
the
probably
dog
Cockney
bollocks?
rhyming slang or something.
What is what?
It's probably like Cockney rhyming slang or something. You know, like my old china plate. How that's like mate and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
I really don't know though. It's just one of those things like dog's bollocks is just for as long as like I've been alive, and probably much longer than that. Dog's bollocks has just meant good.
That is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's dog balls over there. What? Why? What's wrong with it? No. I went to Britain recently, and apparently that means good over there.
Like I say, literally the only thing I can think is that it's just because dogs have such big balls.
It seems to be.
Fucking ridiculous.
It's from 1949.
Of course, you sound like the year of its origin.
Well, yeah. 1949. Okay. Okay. Reason why the dog's bollocks are considered to be the top of the tree aren't clear. It may be linked to an associated phrase, stands out like a dog's balls. That is outstanding, although I can find no evidence to indicate that phrase as being earlier than dog's bollocks. So, yeah. The word bollocks meaning testicles, being part of the language since the 18th century, didn't become used to mean nonsense until the 20th century. Dog's bollocks seems to have originated in Britain in the first half of the 20th century, blah, 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 blah. Okay, printer's terms, although graphic, didn't have any associations with excellence and probably isn't the source of the term that we use today. Revived post-World War II, period outbreak of exuberant coinages. At that time, many nonsense terms for excellent involved animals, cat's pajamas, whiskers, bee's knees.
Oh yeah, mate, that's the bee's knees.
Yeah.
Bees actually don't have knees.
Right. And apparently it was revived in the 1980s in an issue of Viz.
Basically, the answer is it just is.
Yeah. It showed up.
Yeah.
Someone said it. Someone
it showed up in 1949. Yeah. Apparently, it was coined in World War II and then showed back up in, 1949. And
leave it to the Brits.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah, because you have no ridiculous terms. I mean, I don't know any off the top of my head, but I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like, because a lot of the slang over there seems to come from like that old weird word association game that people used to play, long before there was television. And basically, because they stand out somehow, that makes them outstanding. Therefore, to call something associated with that, even though it's a linguistic stretch.
Well, it's only like saying something is the shit. Like,
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. How shit ever became like the fucking universal word? It's just like fuck. It's
the bomb as well.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because something can be the bomb, but if you bombed, then you fucking failed.
Right.
But if that's the bomb, then it's like the greatest ever. It's
Right.
Yeah, and if you are shit, that just means you're horrible. But if you're the shit, that means you're the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you fucking watch that comedian's bit about that, Mason?
No.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to fucking show you that. I'll show you that after we do this thing.
Okay.
That's
Just
a good thing.
seen turds that I like more than that guy.
I've
But
seen
yeah.
Speaking of shit,
Yeah, no, yeah.
That was perfect segue.
2-bit thug who thinks he's the dog's bollocks and he can get away with anything. I've honestly seen turds that I like more than that guy. But yeah, Charlotte lied and she was in a long-term relationship with Willie. I watched them over the next few days just to be sure, but I felt it in my gut. I knew this was the truth. Charlotte was going to be the one. So I waited until 7:30 on the 20th of April, and I watched as Charlotte came out of her house, dressed all in black. I followed her as she drove back to Kickbury, parked up just a few streets away from that retail park, got out of the car, and pulled on that faceless mask. I knew there was nothing else for it, so I tackled her and performed a citizen's arrest. Why did she do all of it? Lying to her family about being in university, robbing her own father, ruining his reputation and his marriage. What was the point of it all? It's pretty simple. Money was the point. Charlotte was an idiot. She was being driven by misguided love and greed. In her statement to the police, Charlotte would say she met Billy not that long after moving to university in September 2018. They got very serious, very fast, and by August 2019, she was already living with him in Chipston. Now, according to her, Billy convinced her to keep up the charade of being in university because she quite regularly received money from her family to help with the cost of living. The whole thing was so elaborate. Every now and again, the two of them would drive back up to Rochester and take a load of pictures so that Charlotte could post them over the next few months. They had fake accounts that were friends with Charlotte on Facebook so that they could post about what a lovely time they'd been having. Anytime Charlotte's parents wanted to visit, she'd drive back up there, take them out for a meal, and just pretend. The girl was living a lie. What was Billy Jackson's side of the story? What do you think? He stitched that girl up like a kipper. He threw her to the wolves the first chance he got. He claimed he didn't even know she was supposed to be in university. And when it came to the robberies, oh no, not a Scooby-Doo in the world. Unluckily for Billy, the police are far smarter than he is. There were phone records to back up Charlotte's story. There were text and direct message conversations, both of which Billy had tried to delete. In these conversations, it was right there in black and white. Are you gonna give me what I want for my birthday? In the end, as unbelievable as it is, that's what it came down to. A birthday present. Billy wanted more money, and he said, quote, I think badass bitches are sexy, and what's more badass than robbing your old man? To Charlotte's credit, she didn't agree to it straight away, but she did in the end. She gave in because she loved him.
To her credit, she didn't agree to murder the guy right away. To her credit, she didn't agree to massacring that family right away.
To her credit, she didn't agree to rob her own father right away. It took a little bit of convincing.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Mm.
Dog, why are you always trying to break my back through my chair with your tail?
Because I love you.
Because then you can't leave.
It's broken. You can't go to the gym or walk out of the house or do anything other than look at me and pet me with your arm because I love you.
Because I love you.
Oh, dogs.
I love this butt.
Yeah.
What about the gun? Oldest trick in the book. It was just a realistic looking fake. The reason this case fascinates me so much is that when it was a simple story about a man with no face robbing a small, independently owned business, nobody cared. Nobody was willing to listen to Charlie Fine. His grassroots campaigning made no difference because so many of us were so quick to jump to the conclusion that he was crazy and naive at best and a liar at worst. It wasn't until the intrigue surrounding the family betrayal, the deception, and the drama was introduced that people began to pay attention. That's when the Help Charlie Kickstarter was created, and that's when hashtag the Faceless Man started to trend. The police did do their best, but in the end, it can't be denied that they still let Charlie down. However, as a society, we have to shoulder some of that blame too, because we're more concerned with a juicy story than showing some human compassion and helping out a fellow citizen. On the 1st of June 2022, Charlotte Fine was charged with 3 counts of armed robbery, and William Billy Jackson was charged with 3 counts of conspiracy to commit an offence. Both parties could be facing a life sentence. When TalkTube reached out to Charlie Fine, he declined to take part in the documentary. And there we have it.
That is so much more serious than anything else I've seen on your channel in the TalkTube verse. It was almost jarring, bro.
But in a really good way, though.
Yeah, not in a bad way, but just like, man, I was not expecting that serious tone, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It sort of switched halfway through. It was originally going to be just silly, and then I came up with the idea for episode 2, and I was like, right, if I carry on just making this silly bollocks, I'm not going to be able to do like this, this like more serious tone later down the line. And to me, I find it quite funny, like imagining like TalkTube as a radio station. I find it really amusing thinking of it having Dear Mason on one hand, and then it being like, up next, it's the Justice Archives, and like the switch straight from Dear Mason to the Justice Archives.
Yeah, that would be pretty fucking funny. Just to have, yeah. I see what you're talking about. I really do.
Plus, I just like trying different things.
Yeah, that's the other point I was about to make. You don't want to let yourself get typecast either.
And at the end of the day, even though it does have a serious tone, if you actually break that down, it's being treated completely seriously. But it's a case about a person robbing a coffee shop on the same day, 3 years in a row, wearing a faceless mask, and everyone's like, oh my god, they have no face.
Yeah. The whole thing. Well, like you said, you're building a South Park-esque world where it's like the most absurd conclusion is the one everyone jumps to and runs with. Yeah, it's pretty fucking ridiculous. Overall, in terms of like comments on the work itself, fucking yeah, man, good quality as usual. Your sound production's on point. Your scripting is good. Your performance is good. It's just, like I said, It was just such a depart. It was jarring for me that it was such a departure from what the series normally do here.
Yeah, but
Was
like
not interesting. I'll go ahead. I finished.
But I was just gonna say, like I said before, I really like the fact that it did have that slightly more serious tone to it because it made the comedy in it hit harder.
Yeah, I felt that way too. Like it meant that when there was a joke, it was like, oh, a joke.
Right. Yeah. It was like, wait. I was lulled out of, their wait. Huh?
Oh, a joke.
A joke.
My best in this ocean of serious.
Wow.
I've just been sucker punched.
Alrighty. Well, does anyone else have anything to add, or can we wrap this bitch up?
Nope, we can wrap it up.
Alrighty, cool. Everyone who watched and anyone who stumbles across later on, welcome to the adventure. Go check out Mason.
Yep.
God, you just never know what this son of a bitch is going to upload at this point.
No.
that's
Love it.
part of my shtick. I like that. I like the idea that if I was subscribed to myself, I would be like, oh, what's he gonna do next?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Never know what you're gonna do.
Yep. There's definitely a flavor and variety on Mason's channel. That's for sure.
Keep them guessing.
Unlike my channel, which just tastes dead.
It tastes of rotting flesh.
Oh no!
Have a good day, everyone. Welcome to the adventure. And hey,
Welcome to the adventure.
be over on if you have a Twitch account, be over on IYFA Twitch tonight for the gym stream and maybe some gaming content. And if you don't have a Twitch account, make one so you can follow us on Twitch.
That's right.
Make an account so you can watch Zack lift heavy things. It's great. I promise.
I believe you.
I swear.